I hate ads and you do too. Get an ad blocker to avoid that shit. You can donate to my Ko-Fi or get a membership to support my content so I don't have to worry about copyright. Thank you and enjoy the video. Lots of you guys love coding, computer science, and tons of other admittedly nerdy stuff. For that reason, I think it would serve you guys to know that this video is sponsored by the big dogs down at Brilliant once again. Brilliant is a learning platform made to teach you stuff like science, statistics, and programming in an accessible and interactive manner, no matter how boring the subject. Brilliant doesn't harass you with a bunch of information and send you on your way. Brilliant makes learning these complex topics actually fun. Because learning is a healthy habit, of course, Brilliant also allows you to set a daily goal, in case you want a 3-course meal of knowledge for your brain every day. Of course, you can always use Brilliant on the go with the mobile app, which is actually pretty sick. If you're thinking of pursuing a career, learning something new, or training your brain and making it big and buff, zoom on over to brilliant.org/LearnXTV, click the link in the description, or scan the QR code on screen. You'll receive Brilliant for a full 30 days, and to sweeten the deal, you'll also score a 20% discount on an annual premium subscription as well. Another thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video.
Please, no, God, please, no! Oh, God, I don't want to die! Tell me what you did!
User.
Jesus, I don't want to die! No!
We tried to install Linux.
Because you're an insane, degenerate piece of filth, and you deserve to die.
As you, the viewer, are watching this video, I'm going to assume that you're using Windows, and who could blame you? Most of us have used Windows for the longest time, and we have gotten used to the way it works, the way it looks, the occasional crash, the imposing updates.
I never want to install these bullshit, meaningless, superfluous, I hate them! I hate these stupid updates! We did pigs and watching me jack off! Spying on me! Obama, you fucking
The random breakage resulting in saying fuck it and reinstalling Windows fresh. And of course, good old useless search. As someone who started with Windows and has used it extensively, I'm pretty wise as to why one would want to use Windows. On the other hand, I'm very aware of what has made it inconvenient and unfavorable, and doubly aware of what has recently rendered Windows highly divisive to everyone. As a result of metric fuck tons of recent complaints regarding Windows 11, including concerns about Windows continually proving to its users that it in fact doesn't give a shit about their privacy, nor their choice in matters as trivial as setting up a local account, disabling any and all telemetry, or configuring something like your taskbar with any level of complexity higher than a trichoplex, requiring elaborate workarounds to customize your system outside of the boundaries that Daddy Microsoft allows. Oh, and I forgot to mention the insanely stringent device requirements, which is rendering systems with specs like this incompatible. One thing that comes to mind, ironically, is the all too common argument against Linux, denoting a vested lack of experience with fucking around with their system's BIOS. But funnily enough, users with monstrously spec'd systems are being told that they can't install Windows 11, and the reasons being given to them, whether it be Secure Boot or TPM 2.0, require that they directly modify settings within their system's BIOS. Obviously, a great many of those users have probably never touched their BIOS, let alone open their PC case. If you couldn't tell already, this is a severe issue. Now, this might all sound manageable, hell, I mean decent enough for some, but the final nail in the coffin for a sizable portion of would-be Windows diehards is Microsoft's recent adulterous affair with AI, specifically Copilot and Recall, both of which carry concerning implications with regards to answering the question, hey, you're not gonna steal my fucking data, are you? To which both of them respond, yes, unless you opt out. Well, actually, still yes. And as an FYI, Windows is essentially making recall non-negotiable on all systems with Windows 11 since update 2.4H2, with the File Explorer's functionality breaking and now being limited if recall is removed. Obviously, this fucking sucks. But for those that carry an iota of foresight inside their skull cavities, they're going to realize that this is also a bad omen for the coming future of Windows and modern consumer software as we know it. Most people are going to scramble back to Windows 10 in the hopes that they will be impervious to Microsoft's tirade. Unfortunately, that could not be further from the truth, considering Windows 10 support will end by October 2025, which is only a year from now. But Linux, you say with your hands balled up out of pure untapped rage. What about Windows IoT Enterprise LTSC? Well, that version does receive security updates until 2032, but that will vary considering hardware manufacturers will most likely yield to base Windows 10's lifespan. Not only that, but unless you're content with the idea that your operating system will be frozen in time without any new features, or that you run the risk of losing data moving over from base Windows 10 to IoT LTSC, you're probably going to want to switch to something else anyways. So, with Windows 11 down the shitter, and Windows 10 being serviceable if not outdated in the long run, that leaves all of the remaining victims to find a new operating system to switch to. Alas, there be macOS, right? Well, not really. Unless you want to devise an unstable Frankenstein's Hackintosh, you're gonna have to cough up several years worth of savings for a device that Apple will deem outdated in less than 10 years. Also, it's not worth a fraction of the cost anyways. Of course, you could buy it on credit, but unless you're keen on experiencing Apple's version of student debt, you're better off lying face down in a ditch with your balls twisted into a fucking pretzel. Now what you've all been dying to hear, Linux, the underdog, the secret third option, and possibly your new operating system. Considering you, a questioning Windows user, are watching this, I'm sure you've seen a little bit of content regarding Linux and you probably know what it is, so I'll spare you all of the nitty-gritty. But to explain Linux in case you don't fully know, Linux is an operating system that excels in performance, scalability, customization, and stability. You can essentially do most things that you can do on Windows on Linux. Unfortunately, there are a few exceptions, and if you tend to do these things on your computer, you're going to want to do a bit of research and see if Linux supports your programs. If Linux doesn't support your programs, or you're not entirely sure about moving from Windows, don't fret. Dual booting with Linux is never a bad option. I'm going to give you the rundown so you're properly informed about what to expect when dual booting Windows and Linux. If possible, set aside a separate drive for Linux. Now, you might be asking, but what if I'm 3 payments behind on rent and all I can afford is a single SSD? Well, not to fret. Of course, you can repartition your single drive in order to store both Linux and Windows. A possible issue with doing so is that Windows, usually after updating, will magically eradicate the Linux bootloader, effectively disallowing you from using Linux, and locking you into Windows and only Windows, which is just so unabashedly Microsoft. Now this is rare, very rare, so it's not really something you should worry about, but it's something to keep in mind. And again, it's nice to set aside a separate, fully formatted drive for Linux if you can. Of course, disable Secure Boot if you haven't already through the BIOS menu on your computer. In order to get the BIOS menu, press any of these keys during your computer's splash screen. You should see a menu that looks like this pop up, and remember that your splash screen should show the logo of your motherboard manufacturer, not the Windows logo. The Secure Boot option should be found in a column called Boot inside your BIOS menu, but your menu may vary. Upon disabling it, make sure to save your changes and exit. Make sure that you're installing Windows first, as installing Linux first may result in Windows deciding, hey, fuck you, and subsequently obliterating your Linux installation. If you're looking for a fresh image of Windows along with activation, visit these websites. You're welcome. The links are in the description, and instructions on how to install are contained within and will be explained later in the video. As for a healthy Linux image, my professional suggestion for beginners will always be linuxmint. You're going to want to head over to this link later in the video, but not now. This link will also be sitting cozily in the description. Now that you have disabled Secure Boot, downloaded your Windows image, it's time to install a fresh, shiny, squeaky clean Windows. First off, find a USB with at least 16 gigabytes or so on it, then you're going to want to head over and snag Balena Etcher. Now keep in mind, booting from a USB will require that you format all of the data on that USB, and format the USB drive to FAT32, which can be done as so. It's not entirely necessary to do this before using Balena, but I think it's good practice. Then you're going to want to set up Balena Etcher, open it, and point to your ISO, which in this case would actually be Windows, but made a bit of a fucking mistake in my example. Then you're going to want to point Etcher to your USB drive. Take great care in which drive you pick, as if you have multiple USBs, you might accidentally subsequently format and unapologetically fucking eradicate your USB upon being chosen. So choose wisely. Once you choose your USB, press flash and wait for Balena to finish, and then reboot your fucking computer. Upon booting back up, find your UEFI menu, which should be found with any of the candidates used in finding your BIOS menu. The UEFI menu lists all of the drives on your system, allowing you to boot into any one of them. In this case, you're going to want to choose your USB drive. After choosing your drive, simply install Windows as normal. Now that you've dipped your toes into Windows, it's time to activate it. Head over to this link. Again, it's in the description, you bumbling fuck. Open Windows PowerShell through the Start menu. Input either one of these commands if one doesn't work, and wait until a command line interface opens up, giving you a fuckload of options on how to fully initiate your PC into the predatory Windows cult, or how to activate it. Wait for it to finish and exit as needed. There are other utilities, including Office activation and a way to easily switch Windows versions, but that's beyond the scope of this video. If you're looking for a reasonably debloated Windows experience, again, IoT LTSC is listed, so go ahead and seize that sexy opportunity if you would like. Now that your Windows has been solidified, it's time to open your computer's third eye and prove your technological expertise by installing Linux. Now, if you've lost your virginity prior to this installation, I'd suggest that you get baptized and become a born-again Christian. If you have not lost your virginity prior to this installation, you're gonna want to hit that subscribe button and join my Discord, cause you're gonna fit right in. Now is where the Linux link comes in. Go to this link, download Mint, and point Balena to this ISO instead. Keep in mind that you're going to want to format a USB prior to this installation as well. If you only got one USB, now that you're on your Windows installation, there's no need to have Windows on that USB anymore, so you can safely launch it into the infinite void by formatting it and granting it holy salvation by means of putting Linux Mint on it. After your Etcher is finished, reboot into that USB, same as before. Painless, right? Then you're going to want to install Linux Mint. Keep in mind that after pressing Start Linux Mint, you're going to be thrust into a live environment, which is basically a whole Linux installation stored entirely on your USB. This does not mean you have installed Linux, as this live environment will erase all data you store on it upon restart. You're going to want to click the Install Linux Mint icon on the desktop, dummy. After going through the usual options in setup, there should be an option that says Install Linux Mint alongside Windows. Now this is what you would do in the case that you don't have a separate drive to install Linux on. If that option doesn't appear, you don't have enough free space on that drive, and you should probably clear that shit up, you fucking hog. But since we got a spiffy new installation of Windows, that shouldn't be a problem. If you do have a separate drive set aside for Linux, you're going to want to choose the option that erases that drive for Linux. Be extremely careful when choosing which drive you're going to install Linux on. A few tells as to knowing which drive to choose is to first examine the amount of space each drive takes up, and the name of the drive, of course. If your Linux drive is from a specific brand, make sure you choose that drive. If your Linux drive was one drive in your system that took 120 gigabytes, for example, then choose that drive. Another thing to look out for is if you get a prompt that says you're going to clear any partitions. If you're using a freshly formatted drive meant for Linux, there should be no prompt informing you that you're clearing any partitions. If there are, choosing that drive may nuke your Windows installation, and you really don't want to fucking do that. After choosing the correct drive, simply continue, input information as necessary, and start the installation. Once it's finished, restart and set your boot priority to having the Linux Mint installation boot first. Usually this will happen automatically, but if it doesn't, head back to your BIOS menu and find the boot column, wherein you can set your boot order and set Linux first. Now the reason why you want to put Linux as first is that booting through Grub, linuxmint's bootloader, is a one-stop shop allowing you to choose either Windows or Linux on startup. That concludes this tutorial. If you're fresh into Linux Mint, I urge you to watch my newbies guide videos in order to get acquainted with the way Linux works in key departments like terminal usage and customization, as well as gaming. Hope you have a good day, take care, please do not die tomorrow.